This bow duty tip is brought to you by Victory Archery. Between draw and release comes victory. Hey everybody, today's tip is going to be how to refletch arrows. In this case we're doing aluminum arrows with plastic fletches. These fletchings here you can see have kind of been a little worse for wear. There's got one missing. There's several different styles and colors and heights and configurations. What we're going to do is we're going to standardize them all, switch them over to a 2 7/8, which is considered a 3-inch. We're going to put those on there and get him hooked up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by showing you how to clean these plastic fletches off the arrow shafts, how to get the arrows prepared, and then how to get the new fletchings installed on the shaft. Okay, the first thing, we've got to remove the old fletchings. These won't pull off that easy by hand. They're on there pretty good. So we're going to take our arrow scraper, boom, just knock it right off of there. Nice thing about this tool is it's tapered, it's rounded to fit the shaft pretty close, and it's not sharp enough to cut you, but it's sharp enough to dig in and scrape those right off. And those popped off real easy. Let's grab another one here. Go ahead and knock this off. All right. Some of them it's going to leave a little residue. You'll just have to take your scraper, kind of work it until it comes loose. All right. That thing takes it off there pretty good. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking my knife, my trusty little scraping knife that I use here, and I'm scraping off the extra remains of the glue and the fletchings that's on there. Sometimes the stuff can be a little stubborn. It comes off the aluminum pretty good. You have to be careful when you're doing this on carbon because you can tend to dig into the shaft. I'm getting this cleaned up, coming off real good. One of the things that you have to remember when you're doing this is if you're, my fletching jig is set up to do 6 at one time. It's got the 3 standard positions, which are 120-degree angle apart from each other. What you have to do on my particular one is you're going to have to break these nocks loose. I'm going to do that in a minute. I'm just running through here, scraping these off, getting them good and clean. The cleaning process is the most important part. You want to try to get all that old glue off of it if you can. That we got the bulk of the glue and the bulk of the plastic that was stuck to the shafts off. We're going to go one more cleaning process. And that's I take regular acetone. You can get this at any local department store or drugstore. You take a piece of paper towel and you dab a little bit on there. Get it wet, a little more than that. And you're going to wipe the shaft down. You kind of want to spin it. You'll feel the shaft get smooth because you'll feel all the little rough spots on there when you're doing this, and you'll feel it kind of smooth out. That means you got it. I mean, look, we got a little more stuff off of it. Now you don't want to touch these anymore, if at all possible, before you refletch them, because your oil off your skin can get on them and cause the glue not to bond. For the most part, you get to doing it, using this acetone and the paper. It pretty much cleans all the oil off your skin, so you don't have too much trouble. Yep. At least I know I don't. I have dry skin this time of year anyway. And I go, you really care? Yeah. I have other problems. You want to discuss those? We can talk about those. Maybe we should take those up in a later tip. All right, I'm going to get the rest of these cleaned off before I say something that's going to really embarrass me. Okay, I went ahead and I replaced the nocks on these arrows because I got to looking at them when I was trying to break them loose. Some of them were different size. Some of them didn't quite fit the back of the shaft. You want to have a nice even fit like this. You got to get the right knock to fit the diameter of your shaft. What you want to do is you want to just stick them on too. You don't want to glue them yet. Just stick them on there, and if you wedge them, they'll wedge and hold the shaft. It's not a problem. You can take them off because when you get your arrow built, you want to be able to get correct alignment on your fletchings. In this case, we're going to line it up to where the cock vein is going to be down. That's the odd color one because he's shooting it through a prong type rest. So let's get it in the jig and get to fletching these bad boys. As you can see, I use a 6 arrow jig. It does 6 at one time. I have straight clamps is what I'm going to use on these fletchings. They make right and left helical. You have to get those separately. Well, what I've done over the years, I've had these for a long time, is I've numbered them. So that way, every single time, this one here says number 1 on it. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 6. And the reason I do that is because every time you go back and refletch these arrows, they've got a mark on them that you line up. There's a little mark right here on the side of the clamp. That's where the back end of my fletching is going to go. Just like that, okay? Then what you want to do is you're going to take the acetone, get you a little bit on your paper towel, and you want to wipe that off one time. That cleans it up. It also preps the plastic for the glue. Then you put a bead of glue down that. Just like so. You feel the little crack up, it's on the bottom of it. And then you stick it in the slot in the back and the slot in the front, and then attach it to the shaft. I always start out using the cock feather first. It's just easier to keep up that way. You just go to the next one. You do it exactly the same way. You line up the back of the fletching with the back of the fletching with the little mark that you have on your clamp. That's going to just ensure that every single one of your fletchings are the same distance from the knock. Sometimes you'll push it down, you'll see a little glue come out the side, just wipe it off with your finger and you're in good shape. All right, I'm going to continue on with the white and I'm going to get to the end. By the time I get over there to the end on this 6 arrow jig, the front one's going to be dry, so I can just repeat it again with the orange and come back and repeat it again with the orange. Okay, now that we got all of our fletchings glued on, it's time to take the arrow out. You're not done yet with the glue. One thing I like to do in a lot of shops, they do quality arrows, do the same thing. And that's like, I like to put a little bead of glue right at the very end of the fletching where it contacts the shaft, and just weld it there. I do it at the front and I also do it at the back. That's just a little extra security measure to keep it from peeling, because usually if they're going to peel, that's generally where they do it from. Now all you have to do is align your knock. In this case, like I said before, I'm going to put the odd fletching down so it can go through the forks of the rest. Put a little bead of glue there. Doesn't take a whole lot of glue. And when you put it on, you kind of want to turn it a little bit, kind of smear the glue around the shaft, line it up. If you have a super knock or a uni-knock or something that'll twist, a lot of carbon shafts will have a knock that twists. Some of the older style aluminums do too. You can just twist it and get it lined up. Hey, I appreciate you taking time to watch my tip. Hope I taught you something. Shoot straight and stay tuned.